One of the first things that came to the mind was what should we do with these activities that we have planned for, involving like a large number of people. When can we resume, etc. But also beyond that, I think there is a concern whether the community can still be effectively engaged during this pandemic where lifestyles and habits will have to be changed drastically. But over time, we also realized that while certain kinds of activities have to be stopped and cannot be conducted during this period, but we have to also learn to be more resourceful in terms of leveraging technology to achieve our objectives.
Actually, we only found out. So at first, the advisory was very unclear because I think everyone was just trying to figure out where they are as well. So the advisory initially came out and said, okay, social services were essential. But over the weekend, we realized that actually we are classified under non-essential services, and only those providing direct food or things that you need, if not you'll die one, then those are really considered essential services. So and circuit breaker was going to start on Tuesday, right? So Monday was just a mad rush of trying to get everything together. For WeCare side, it's not as challenging because we just have a few cases to follow up on, right? But it's not, and a lot of them are walk-in inquiries. So it's really just calling them up to check on them. But for EduGrow, because we do have regular activities, for example, tuition in place. So not being able to be present on the ground posed a lot of challenges. Even if we wanted to move the tuition online, which we did, the question was how are we going to deliver the materials to them, right? It's not like they can print it at home. They don't have that luxury. The printing shops below their house aren't open. The school isn't open, right? Nothing is open. So how are we going to keep them engaged during the circuit breaker? The other thing that happened was also we received diapers donations, and they arrived on the Monday before circuit breaker, right? So how are we going to distribute these diapers during the circuit breaker? We can't, right? And if we don't distribute them at that time, the children are going to grow and they won't be able to fit into their diapers anymore. So this became very real challenges and very immediate challenges that we faced, and I guess it overtook all the shock or whatever that we had to deal with. Or it's just like, okay, how do we get through this day? Make sure we are done for today, and tomorrow we can start planning how we are going to work from home. Rush lor. Right, so for the diapers, we managed to call in, because I think at that time we were supposed to be at split teams already. Our team is very small, so we have two of us at EduGrow and another two that focuses on WeCare's work, right? And we have a finance staff. So we just called everyone to come in, and they were just helping to pack the material. So our colleague called I think we had like over 300 diapers, so about 50 residents. So just kept calling them to come down and collect your diapers today. If not, you won't get it anymore. Which is true, right? And for our EduGrow side, we bought assessment books from Popular that day. So we bought like $900 worth of assessment books to distribute to our 60 children so that we can keep them engaged during the circuit breaker, and they can continue learning as well, right? Because we weren't sure whether or not they were ready for online classes yet. And we wanted to make sure that they are familiar with the platform first before we get our tutors to come in to teach them and run the lessons. Yeah, so it was a lot of coordination work on our part and really trying to see what would work best. And yeah, so the team stayed until like 10, 11 that day. We really like stretched out the non-circuit breaker part as much as possible. Yeah.
As mentioned earlier, some of our projects involved face-to-face interactions, and large number of participants will actually have to be halted or postponed indefinitely. So we have to make changes to the way we, plan the programs and run these programs. Our monthly meetings still actually continue over Skype, where we check in with our members to see if they are okay and whether they want to propose any grassroots initiatives to be organized during this period, or after this whole period has ended. And currently we are actually still having planning for a couple of initiatives to be conducted virtually, including a digital art competition, as well as a coding workshop for PMETs. So we really are currently trying to tap and leverage on the digital medium as well as the technology tools to engage our youth as well as the residents. A lot of our activities actually involve youths having to physically come together for a common cause to serve certain marginalized segments of our community. For instance, organizing a food distribution project or a home cleaning project. So undoubtedly now it is a challenge to plan for such activities, and sometimes there is just no similar workaround for that.
I think what we were most worried about weren't the people that were already seeking help, like people who, in a way, were known to the social service office or were receiving financial assistance. Yes, they were impacted, but they already knew where to seek help. But the circuit breaker period or this pandemic actually affected a larger group of people, and many of those from the middle income or even some higher income who are earning 5 figures suddenly losing their job, right? So these were the people who, while they were tech savvy, they did not know where to go immediately. So they were the ones that could apply online, knew how to apply online, but they may not know that, hey, actually this resource is available for me, right? So those were the group that we were a little bit more worried about because then do they know where to go? We are situated within Marine Parade, so it's very easy if you like walk by and see, oh, there's this thing open, can I go in and ask? But if you just walk by and you see our number on the wall, you won't say like, okay, I'm going to call this number to find out more, right? Because you're generally like, why do they think I'm a nuisance? So those are for the population in general. I think for our children, we also were very worried because we noticed that they were lagging behind in class. Home-based learning is a 6-hour thing. It's supposed to take out 6 hours of your time, right? But our kids are finishing within 30 minutes, and then at first we were like, oh, so fast, like everything all so easy. Then there were times where we just, because it's video call, right? So it's like, okay, let's do HBL together today. So we'll see them just clicking next, then scroll down all the way, click next. Because a lot of times it's just instructions, whether it's videos or teachers like give you an example of how to do things, right? It's very instructional. So because of that, right, the children will just click next, and teacher will not know the better also, right? There are times where the teacher, I think like I really like admire the teachers because of the amount of effort they put in. They will create PowerPoint slides that are animated, and it'll give like a sound if you get it right, and if you give another sound if you get it wrong. But our children will just download, and then they don't know where the download went, and then they just don't realize that, oh, it has been downloaded, and they just, after they download, they think, okay, I'm done with this activity, and then they click next, right? And even if they download, they don't know how to view it in PowerPoint. As much as the teachers will give all these instructions in a very detailed format, right? They'll say click here, click here, click here. The children get very confused sometimes, and they'll be like, okay, then what am I supposed to do, right? And if you're in full screen mode in PowerPoint, you also won't be able to refer to your instructions, right? So a lot of these challenges, like we realized that our children were not getting the guidance that they need, and I think one of the things that we were a little bit more concerned about is that during that period, a lot of people were just saying, okay, children don't have Wi-Fi, children don't have laptops, don't have like access to HBL, right? And then they were just giving out technology, and our concern was no one was teaching our children how to use this technology, right? Some of the children who didn't have access to these, they were able to go to school, and in school there was a teacher who were able to teach them how to use it and give them guidance on how to like which topic to do, or like how do you go through the HBL assignment together. Yeah, but at home there was no, in a way, no police, right, to watch over, say, okay, you need to complete this, and the written assignments were just all not done because no one's going to check what. I mean, they did ask the children to upload on Google Drive, but it became such a hassle that the children was just like, never mind. I mean, okay, so the teachers won't scold, right? Because they recognize that some people will not have access to this technology or will not know how to do it. But they just treat it as, I don't have to hand up lah. And when school reopened, then they realized that, oh, I have to have to submit all these work that I did not do. Yeah, and that was quite difficult for them as well. And we realized that a lot of our children had more remedial classes to attend after school reopened. It's difficult because as much as we want to sit with them for 6 hours just to go through their HBL, right? Because it's important for them to finish their schoolwork. It's quite impossible for us to do that to all the children, or even those that need it, right? They can't be holding the phone, and we can't be watching them make sure that they complete each assignment. Yeah, so these are really some of the things that we thought it's just more difficult. If let's say our space was open, we can get all of them down to just sit down in front of us and do, right? And rather than just calling each of them individually and monitoring them, right? So these are some of the things that were a bit more difficult.
Yeah, so I'm definitely this is not expected. I mean, no one would have expected a pandemic last year, but I think that it's still very essential for us to, whether it's now or next time, to really explore ways to see what we can tap on, what kind of technology tools we can tap on to continue our programs and activities. I would say it's to explore as many ways as we can to tap on technology to serve our community, which we are trying to do now. But this would involve a concerted effort from our volunteers as well as the residents to be onboarded onto this digital journey.
I don't know. I guess I've said a lot. Don't take things for granted. I think partly is also to not have pity on our kids. I'm not sure if that's a right way of putting it, but rather just to see them as they are, see them as people who are learning and growing, rather than, oh, you're so poor thing, come let me give you a laptop. Oh, you're so poor thing, come let me give you Wi-Fi. Right? Because I don't think that's what they want, or that's what they need. But what they need are really people to work with them, guide them as they make decisions daily.